I'm delighted today and honored to chat with Ali Niknam, who's the CEO and founder of bunq. Ali, please come and join. Let's find a way to...
Does that one work? Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
So Ali is not only the founder and CEO of bunq, he's a serial entrepreneur. bunq, as already said, is the most successful EU neobank, and it's the first neobank that was profitable back in 2022, and after that Revolut with probably 10 times the customers became profitable. And I guess I'll deep dive directly. The question is, how do you do it? What is the business model? I mean, we understand how Revolut with 50 million customers now, 65 million, aiming to 100 million. You have 9 million customers. There must be a difference in the business model that explains this. So tell us a little bit about that.
So first of all, thank you for having me here. It's nice, cozy. I can feel there's a lot of people very excited to be here. It's a very intimate atmosphere, which I love. So if anyone has a question for me, don't hold back, just raise your hands and I'll be happy to answer whatever you want. And of course, also thank you for asking such a to-the-point question. So I think the reason for that is that bunq's existence is very different to many other neobanks. We started after the financial crisis with this conviction that we wanted to be part of the future and help society move forward rather than doing the blame game towards each other on which banker was the most to fault, and et cetera, et cetera. And so we came together with a bunch of people and we built what we now call the Bank of the Free. For us, it was very important that we did things the right way, and so contrary to many of our peers, we went for the banking permit because our intention was to change the world rather than build another successful company. So the order has always been, first, move things forward, but then second, to be able to continue to move things forward, we need to have a sustainable, durable, successful company. And so our whole business model has been created, our whole company has been created around putting users first, and then having a subscription model that charges a couple of euros a month, which we think is a fair amount for the value we bring to them, which then allows us to continue to innovate and challenge things as they are in the world.
I must say that you've been brave and courageous. You've won a legal battle with the central bank in the Netherlands to prove to them that AI is better for anti-money laundering and in general against financial crime. And I think that you are the first European neobank that launched an AI chatbot that's not only offering what's my balance and so on, it's a little bit more lifestyle, if I understand correctly. So my question there is, in terms of this AI vision, what is it exactly? Is it more to become like a lifestyle app? Where do you want to take this from where it is today?
Okay, the way I heard your question is actually two questions. First is, who in their right mind would challenge a regulator and go to court? And that is us, because we felt that by putting our users' interest first, that the way we were doing things was more accurate, less impactful, more safe for everyone, whereas the regulator was stuck in certain ways of the past. Now, I appreciate today, in this day and age, with everything being about AI and everybody talking about AI, nobody can conceive anyone being against it, but that was the case until we won. And in doing so, by the way, we changed not just the Netherlands, but the entirety of Europe, because it's a European banking permit, and therefore it sets European precedents. So that was very important. And from what I understood here in Davos, as a side win, I believe that now other banks too are like, hey, wait a minute, if this guy can win, maybe we can win too. And so, I know behind the scenes, and I won't name any names, of course, other banks have also started to be a bit more vocal against regulation that holds things back. So that's first. Then second, when we talk about AI, so I started coding when I was 9, and so technology, up to a certain point, comes natural to me. And so I think for us, for bunq, AI is just a tool that helps us understand our users better, but also empowers our users to do the things that matter to them. I think for many companies, AI is either a magical one that will do everything, cut all costs, increase revenue, and do all the other things, which it might. We live in a real life, and magic is a nice fantasy to have, but that is not how things work. And for others, it's a way to just cut costs. For us, it's neither or both, depending on how you want to explain it, because we see it as a tool to enrich the lives of our users through Fin that is able to do a whole bunch of things that no human could do. It's almost as if having your own personal guardian, CFO, and support agent and translator all into one. And on the other hand, we also use AI to keep you safe, for transaction monitoring and security things, and also to help you if you ever have a question, to make sure that you get the right information you need whenever you need it.
So it's really a companion education and a little bit more.
Education, not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe.
Okay, okay. I think the big thing and the big news, obviously, for bunq has been the announcement that you're expanding to the US. That's a big one. And then again, there you're doing what you did
and
before.
Just the word reinforcements are coming from through the helicopter.
Yes, you are going to the US and you are seeking a banking license, right? Because that's the way you like to do it. But what's more interesting to me is the reason that you're going. You have come up with a mission, if you want, or a vision where you want to make European credit history portable over to US citizens and residents that are European, and then build those bridges, the rails that Yip was talking about before that don't really exist, and leverage those rails to serve these customers. Tell us a little bit more about that vision and why it seems it is a very niche area, right? Why do you think that you can compete there when there's the Chines of the world in the US and everybody wants to go there? How does that niche strategy, how have you thought about that?
So I think for bunq, we don't shy away from competition. If anything, we love competition. It's the lack of competition that we don't like. So as long as there's competition, it's great. May the best bank win. But secondly, going to the US, I think for a lot of our peers, not those who started in the US, but there have been a couple of others who have attempted to go to the US, they went for different reasons. So they went because it sounded fashionable, or they could raise more money, or considerations like that, which are perfectly valid, but those are not common considerations. We want to go to the US because we follow our users. We serve users that are, by and large, very international. I just heard we have one user in the audience, at least one user in the audience today, so thank you for supporting us. And our users are very international, and the biggest region that they visit outside of Europe is the US. And when you go to the US and you spend considerable time there, so if you're there as a traveler, first of all, we give you a huge benefit because we have the best exchange rate, and that saves a significant amount of money. We have an app that allows you to control whatever you want, whenever you want, which is very important in regards to safety and flexibility. And thirdly, we issue credit card numbers, so your card actually works in the US. Because in Europe, we have a lot of debit cards that typically don't work outside of Europe. But anyway, if you go there, so that's as a traveler. If you go there on a more frequent basis, then you start running into problems. For example, if you want to have a US mobile phone number, you need to have a credit history. And that's where this idea of porting European data to the US comes from. So it is not entirely correct to say that we only want to offer credit in the US based on European credit card. Rather, we're following our users and we're supporting them in their everyday wants and needs. And one of those wants and needs is to be able to have some sort of credit so you can live or do your business in.
I think it will be a journey, right? It's probably going to take a while to get the banking license and get running, but you want to do it the right way.
Yeah, at bunq we don't do shortcuts because we're dealing with people's money, and so we want to make sure everything is safe and sound. And I'm very proud and very happy that about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 now, we applied for the National Banking Charter, and so hopefully in about 3.5 months' time we'll get an answer. It doesn't mean we'll launch in 3.5 months' time, but at least then we'll know whether we're allowed to.
Ali, let's zoom a little bit out in terms of looking at the future. Obviously, we all expect AI to transform business models. I'm sure you also expect new competition from other startups that have different operating models from scratch. There's also all this stablecoin adoption that is another, if you want, disruptor in the banking world. Blockchain, AI, both are going to change the operating model. And obviously, I assume you're thinking about those things. And where do you see bunq in 5 to 10 years when these two converging technologies will have reshaped not only payments, credit probably, and so on? What are your thoughts strategically in those two areas as new payments, new rails, new ways, maybe new products too, because essentially we don't have any new products?
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer because so there's a reality that we have to deal with a lot of regulation. The financial sector is incredibly heavily regulated, probably even more heavily regulated than healthcare, which is nuts, which means that we as people find money more important than the safety and health of ourselves and those around us. And if there was no regulation, the financial world would look very differently. And I believe if there was no or less regulation, there would be less need for stablecoin and blockchain. Because effectively, if I look at it through very rational eyes, all that blockchain and stablecoin does is it creates a parallel financial infrastructure to the existing infrastructure that is not regulated. What it achieves technically is not very difficult to achieve with different technologies. So that's not a unique thing, I believe, and I appreciate some people may be in blockchain here and they're very different.
He's open a black box now. He's open a
And
black
that's perfectly fine, right? It's just a technology that offers something. But I think that the real benefit of stablecoin and these other coins is that they operate outside of the paradigm of the very restrictive, difficult financial regulation. And I, by the way, believe that as they increase in usage and in importance, they will succumb to the same regulation that the financial sector has. So there won't ever be a true democracy and freedom of movement of capital. That has never been.
One quick question and then we'll turn it to the audience, because I think now you really poked the audience. And trust, we're talking about trust, it's everywhere discussion here in Davos. And from your customer base, from your experience, how has trust been infused? How have you inspired trust? And have you been successful in doing that with your clients? Are there any KPIs you want to share with us? Whether it's a low turnover, whatever it is, how do you think of trust in your business? Beyond the regulatory aspect of it and being always serious and not in the gray area and compliant.
I think trust, once you get a banking license, you basically end up being part of the system. And that comes with its advantages and disadvantages. So one of the advantages is that people automatically trust you. not all of them, but 80% automatically trust you. They're like, okay, you went through all of the hoops. You have all these people filling in forms. You have all these other people checking up on you, making sure that you don't do anything that you're not supposed to. So I'm going to trust you. That's the benefit. The downside is that so many people have a very short-term memory, and they forget that the reason why we were created was to move things forward. And so the downside is that some people now distrust us because we are part of the financial establishment. And so suddenly, in a very limited number of years, I went from the challenger who was going to fix things, which I think and I hope, that not just me, but all of us every day aspire to do, and we partially also did. We went from that to, oh, here's Ali, he's a banker, with all of the connotations and emotions and things that come with that.